Yeah, bro. Like just what we were just talking about, right? Accountability, awareness. Like I need to know what I'm in control of and what I can change, right? Like I need to be able to break down my process and my ability to follow it, right? So, you know, in this weekly webinar, that's my goal today, is to break down trades we took, obviously, market conditions, our way of identifying to them, our way of adapting to them. And most importantly, like I've been talking a lot lately about just identifying the behaviors that are keeping you from becoming consistent. Like me and Darren were just talking how we get confused on what consistency actually looks like. Like, what does it look like to become consistent, right? Like a journal. Is every day green? Absolutely not. Obviously, every day isn't red, but those red days are contained, right? We can't control the market behavior, but we can control ours. And that's been like the theme of our message for so long now, is like, you know, success is something you attract by the person you become, right? Like you need to be able to control your behaviors. And in the market, there's a lot of gray area there, right? Like, you know, coming up with a pre-market plan every morning, controllable behavior. Following the pre-market plan every day, controllable behavior. If price goes in your favor, uncontrolled behavior. We cannot control that. So I don't even look at it. It's crazy, Darren. Like I've really reached a point in my trading where, like, if I could care less if it goes for me or not. Like I've learned to take losses like I never thought I'd be able to. Like it doesn't affect my personal life anymore, right? It's like, oh, took a loss, on to the next. I controlled it. But dude, some losses, and we'll go over some, I consider wins. I consider some of these losses I took this week wins, and it's because I controlled myself while putting on the setup. Monday was a perfect example of that, right? We're just gonna dive right into it. This was a break and retest above previous day high, right? Previous day high was identified right here at 460.75, right? So right here on this retest, right? And you know, it's challenging because when the market looks like this is my edge. This is my bread and butter. Like this right here is my way, especially breaking this 460.96 area, right? This is what I call, like, you know, little bearish structure, right? We look for little things to find before putting on a trade, and this is one of them for me, right? Like when we come down for a retest, I'm looking to see buyers really defend that and break above that. But, you know, put it on. Followed my plan entirely. Didn't rush it. Had my stop in. Trading with market conditions. Check, check, check. Pre-market plan. One of them was longs above previous day high with upside targets, right? So like this was a win. Did this go against me? Absolutely. Can I control that? Absolutely not. Right? So dude, that's a win in my book. 100%.
100%.
And like all too often.
You know what's crazy is, so I took this trade off open print, but exactly where I stopped out, right when we broke that level. So that is where, you know, when we broke below previous day high is exactly where I stopped out. And, you know, I was really proud of that. I didn't make bank on this trade just because volatility was so low today on this day. You know, premiums weren't really moving like they normally do.
Right.
But I followed my process so well. You know, I entered off open print. And I got out at structure. But what's crazy is the exact point where I got out and structure broke, that provided a new entry, which you took later in the day, I'm pretty sure, for longs. Once we actually regained that level, which I thought was amazing.
And that's
exact same level.
It's crazy, Debo, because that's exactly our goal. It's like the same strategy I followed right here, and that breeded a quote-unquote losing red trade, right? I'll just call it a red trade because this is a winning trade. The exact strategy that we implement day in and day out, right here didn't pay, but right here paid very well. So it's like, dude, like, how can we define ourselves, our emotions, our worth on something we can't control? I talk about this with almost every single trader I speak with. Is like, we cannot base our worth on this red trade. right? It makes no sense. Think about it. Why would you measure a metric that you can't control? You know, it's like if you can't control it, the variable is going to be different every single time. There's no way of developing any sort of plan to make the market move in your favor. And all too often we're like, oh, but I could become better analysis. I can get better analysis. I can get better trades. I X, Y, Z. And it's like, dude, none of that matters. All what matters is your approach. Like, and going into 2024, that is my goal. Like, I took a step back this month with size, right? And it's actually been the last couple months. But the reason I did that was very strategical because 2024 is around the corner. I'm not trying to go hard and kill myself to make bank for 2023, right? I'm positioning myself to approach 2024 with a crystal clear, just bulletproof strategy and mindset, bro. If we can approach 2024, Debo, just with complete conviction, like meaning, listen, I've spent the last year, right, just honing these skills, low size, programming the mind, right, and like complete acceptance of my ability to follow my strategy, right? Just that conviction that comes with that. Dude, 2024 could be the changing year. It will be. You know what I mean? I just think
Absolutely.
like
I like that way of thinking about when you put on trades, always thinking about the next trades. You know what I mean?
ooh, yes.
And you know, if you're process oriented, then it makes it really easy to think about the next 100 trades and you feel
Yes.
confident about your 100 trades because you know how you react in a certain situation versus,
Right.
you know, if you made a winning trade but you broke your rules, you know, that's
Doesn't
not
mean
going to feel
shit.
good for the next 100 trade because now you can't trust yourself.
Exactly.
So that's a great way of thinking about it.
It's so deep, bro. It's so heavy because like you said it perfect. If you broke your rules, right? Say you broke your meaning you just hopped in the market because some variable, right? Couple green candles, whatever it is. You know your process. If you didn't follow it and you made some money, you're going to go to bed that night thinking, how am I going to do that again tomorrow, right? Or am I going to be able to do it tomorrow, right? And then sooner or later, those behaviors, those thoughts, those emotions are going to show up in your next trade. And then you're going to find yourself in a self-sabotaging trade. Dude, I've done it for years, right? And that's why like lately we've been going so hard on the importance of building conviction, right? And there's only one way to do it. There's only one way to build conviction. And it's to repeatedly make the right choices when the size is small, right? It's like, you know, going to the gym every day, right? Some days you're not going to want to, but still doing it. That builds self-worth. That builds conviction. And then what that does is once you're in a position where you have 5 contracts, 10 contracts, 100 contracts, which is our goal, we're like, dude, listen, I've done this for years. I'm not worried. You know what I mean? And that's the goal. Like I was saying, like that's my goal going into 2024 because we've built this strategy. We've built our edge. We've, you know, now it's just really dial in and be focused on that mentality and build that conviction.
Execution and mentality.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like, so yeah, that was Monday. Really proud with these days. Every single trade I took followed my edge entirely. And you can't ask yourself for any more. Tuesday was one of my best days. Not financially, but just the way I traded this, I was extremely proud of, right? And I really want to talk about this day, right? And get your perspective on this because I made 2 trades. One was off SPY on end of day, off end of day retest. But my first initial trade I took was on QQQ, and I really was, like I was saying, I was really proud with how I traded this day. So first thing I want to map out here is where previous day high, which was right here. Now, I usually don't take trades like this, but I want to show you what I was looking at and why I had so much conviction going into longs here. And now this has been something like I've really been diving into my journal and doing some like back testing on and like playing around with. And it's really nothing different. It's just structure and what the candle's telling you. So basically, first thing I want to point out here is that right off open print and right off, morning bell, we started selling off, right? Below end of day, we started to sell. And then, so I approach this certain different ways, right? And well, every day it's the same way. It's all structured. So price comes up and tags end of day. And I actually take this short, right? So my first trade was a short off end of day. And I had downside targets, right? But more importantly, I'm watching structure here. Because if you can learn to look at these candlesticks properly, they'll tell you where strength and weakness is. So we come up, I take the market short off end of day, and we sell. Bearish structure forms off these three candles, but it couldn't hold. We couldn't continue to get lower lows. We couldn't continue to get lower highs, right? So we get this level over here at 39473. Buyers show up, and now I'm noticing struggle here, and it comes up and retests this level, starts to sell off, right? And I'm like, okay, and this is where I'm using my 5-minute. My 5-minute, my 9-day EMA have played a very big role in my trading lately, and it's.
I love the 5-minute,
dude. The 5-minute, Darren, has it speaks. I mean, we talk about this all the time. A lot of going through my journal and looking at some of my losers, I'm like, I would have never taken that trade on a 5-minute time frame, never, right?
Boom, there you go. It's the exact reason I use it.
Yeah, and honestly, going back, I really don't like the first trade I took here. I mean, I acted on my edge very quickly, but I've been moving towards letting the market unravel in the morning, right? I find a lot of my good trades usually happen after 9:45, 9:50. Not to put a time on it, but it just, what it tells me is, once the market has created her story for the day, I trade better. So, my focus on that, right? So anyways, this green candle stopped me out of my trade, this 2-minute, right? And it's all because when we're holding structure here, I'm staying in, right? This is looking good. We're making, we're trying to make lower lows at least. And then once we snap above 39475, I'm out. Like we were talking about, Debo, locking in a 1 to 3. This was almost an 80 cent move. Bam, done. I'm not giving money back anymore. Done with it. I am done with giving money back. If that means sometimes I miss out on some large moves, it doesn't matter, right? I'm in the business of extracting money out of the market and not giving it back, right? Just to prove my analysis is right. And that's one thing I've been struggling with. So that was one of my goals going into this week was okay, if I'm up 30, 40%, there's no way I'm stopping out less than 20. You know what I mean? There's none. So really, but what that did for me was line me up for a long entry, right? So the way I was looking at this was, see how the 5-minute closes well above the 9-day EMA, right? So this is one of my ways that I kind of, this helps me identify a strong shift in the conditions. And now I'm going, okay, open print and end of day are right here. What's it going to look like if buyers invalidate this, right? And that's kind of up for question. I don't like trying to predict things. But when I notice strength going into a critical level, I have to be aware of it. And then what I did was extended structure here and found myself a nice little inverse head and shoulders with a higher neck. And I was like, dude, what does this look like if buyers defend this, right? We got a bullish chart pattern at a critical level, right? And I put the trade on right here, the long. Now, and one of the main reasons I took this trade was because my stop out was so close. I mean, it was literally 20 cents away. I mean, I wasn't willing to hold this trade below this part right here at 39493, right? It didn't I had this in my mind, right? Where buyers defended this, I'm long, and I don't need to wait around to see what else happened, right? It was just a quick, I'm only willing to risk this. And then the market just popped right above this. And it was a really nice trade, ripping right up here into 39666, which was a pre-market level. And then it was just holding until we broke the 9 EMA or structure. And I want to add that or structure part in because the 9-day EMA is great, right? And moving averages, if they help you stay in trades, that's awesome. But more importantly, I have to watch structure at all times, and it really helps me when staying in trades, right? It's like, look at this candle, closed below the 9, but I still stayed in the trade because we couldn't break bullish structure, right? We were still holding these levels, right? And I was completely okay with holding on the trade until these broke. So as I go forward using the 9-day EMA, I have to ask myself, do I let this trump all my other decision-making processes? Absolutely not, right? I just use it as kind of like a guider of trend, right? But more importantly, that structure is going to tell me who's in control. So that's kind of how I traded that long there, and I really liked how I did it. It was a good trade.
Yeah, I like how you were able to like so often if let's say you're in a short play and you see the market move against you, if you're in that short play and you stop out, you can tell if price is moving against you,
right?
Because all right, I got to get out because conditions have changed.
It's like a harmony.
Well, now what that's telling you is conditions are not bullish. So had you not been in a short play, you might not have known exactly where your sniper entry.
It's so true.
But since you were in that trade and you could visually see, all right, sellers do not have this. Now you can confidently switch and be like, all right, I'm in longs now.
Yeah,
I think that probably helped you a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, you actually, bro, you tagged on something important there. That's like when we talk about building a relationship with the market, that's the relationship we want. We want the relationship where price action doesn't hurt us mentally. It doesn't cause us to make decisions. Well, let me put it this way. When we're completely objective, which we've been working on, meditating on, focusing on for years now, right? When you're objective and you have a good relationship with the market, right? There's two ways I could have handled this stop out or this take profit. I could have held because I wanted to make more money, which would have been out of greed, or I could have just cut it onto the next and then broadened my horizon to the writing on the wall, going, okay, conditions are changing. What do I need to see to put on a long here? Right? And it's like, it's weird. Like a lot of people want a super structured answer to entries and exits, but there isn't one. I wish there was, but there's so many different variables and factors and things that go into market conditions shifting. It's insane.
Your audio's fast.
Is it?
All right, you're back now.
You know what I mean, though? There's really no structured way of approaching an entry or exit, right? It's all on that market relationship, right? And then I took one more on SPY, which was just right off end of day, and like we were talking about this the other day, like you don't need these. Like this was my trade off SPY. It was literally, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles, right? And it's like, bro, this right here was over 30%. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah.
You know, it just being, and I was done. I was happy. I'm like, dude, 2 trades, followed my process, done. Classic end of day break. So.
Yeah, so I did this day a little bit different. So I was looking for some reason. I was looking for a retest, man. I identified some clear zones on QQQ. Yeah, I like QQ. I traded QQQ this day, but I identified some zones from the previous day where I was expecting buyers to show up, and they showed up. So I was looking for a retest for whatever reason, and I never got it. And so I wasn't long on any of these trades. I waited all the way until 12:15 when we came down and retested 39611.
Nice.
For my entry.
Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah. But what was cool about that is if you zoom into the 15-minute on Qs, recently I've been doing this thing where I try to find these red bar ignored and then use those as a level for a pullback to tell me conditions. So you see that red bar ignored right there?
Really?
So there's got to be some, like the way that I think about it is there are sellers there that are trapped that, they're trapped. They're trying to get out. And so I always watch levels like that for pullback. And sometimes you see it on the 2 minute, you see it on the
Well-
5 minute. In this case, I zoomed out to the 15 and I saw that. And, you know, that was the pullback that I got, and I got long, and I took it up to, you know, high of day. I didn't hold too long, but
still a
you know,
fire trade.
I literally waited like crazy for that one.
Well, and I actually, that's what you did Friday, bro, where you found an area you were looking for pullback, and like, more importantly, that's so powerful, bro, because it's like now you have a picture in your mind of what you're looking for conditions to do, and then as it unravels, I bet your executions on these trades are phenomenal when you do that, right? It's like,
oh yeah,
and that's powerful. It's like,
yeah,
and it makes sense, dude. Like, think about the auction. I mean, the break and retest, it literally represents sellers stomping out of their trades or buyers. So when you identify a red bar ignored, it's literally sellers tried to go short and they weren't able to get out yet. So once price comes back to that level and they stomp out, it provides massive move to the upside.
Yeah, it's trading it's exactly what it is. It's trading the auction. It's not like, you know, I'm not sitting around saying, I feel like there should be a pullback. Like, look,
right.
So I was watching initially on the 2 minute, and we made it over previous day high. And I was watching this, and I was like, okay, you know, we're coming down for a retest, and these little retests got bought up so fast.
Yeah.
That in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, we're so bullish here that we can't even retest previous day high. Buyers are gobbling up price so fast when we pull back that we cannot even retest open print. We can't retest end of day or previous day high, which is pretty normal. You know, which is pretty normal to retest, especially when it's that close. So in my mind, I'm thinking, all right, we are extremely bullish. Where is a level where if we do pull back, it doesn't necessarily have to be previous day high, but it will show me that these sellers here are getting stopped out or are stopping out and giving way to bullish conditions. And I saw that play out right in front of my eyes. And I took it, and I was really, really happy with how I was able to be patient and, you know, and watch for actual, you know, evidence of the market auctions. This has nothing to do with like feeling like there's going to be a pullback or anything. It just is based on actual market action.
Well, you know, another thing I like to do, which is very similar in an auction aspect. Look at this yellow line right here is, you know, a level of interest, right? Look, structure, we hit it, we broke it, we retest. So usually when we break below this level and come up for a retest, I'm usually extremely bearish, right? Now, just because this is what we call a head and shoulder or whatever it may be, right, doesn't mean I just go short on the retest. I wait to see how price reacts. Once again, like you're talking about, the auction at this level. So notice here, when we get a sharp sell-off, and I'm looking at the 5-day and the 2 minute, or the 5 minute. Oh, they're both 5 minutes. Hold on. Let me move out the 2 minute real quick. But that when we sell off like that, and then when the pullback into the 9-day EMA is very bullish, like it is on the right, where the candle closes extremely green. Like, because look at this. I was debating a short play there. Right? That's a clean short. But I didn't take it. And I think it had something to do with, I mean, we're holding above end of day. We're holding above previous day high. And once again, we talk about this. When you're not desperate to put on a setup, you just don't take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't feel the need just because I had a couple red 2 minute candles to take the market short here. You know what I mean? I wanted more out of it, right? Like I really wanted to trade with the overall conditions, which have been overall very bullish. And then watch how, and this goes back, Darren, to what we were talking about with the 5 minute. Yeah, this looks great on a 2 minute time frame, but on the 5 minute, I'm not taking this short. I mean, you know, there's really not
where is your stop? Where is
exactly.
your stop if you're taking that short?
Exactly. Like, I mean,
there's no clear place to put your stop.
Yeah.
Especially because pre-market, you know, wasn't this CPI day?
No. Maybe. Yeah.
It was not?
Yeah, it was. It was.
I think it was CPI.
This was CPI. And now that brings up a valid point, right? It's like, where's your stop?
Yeah, it was CPI day.
So
I'll tell you why. My conditions my criteria to get into a trade was so freaking high this day, because it was a news day.
Yeah.
That was probably another reason why I wasn't looking for that short. I was like, I'm not taking anything unless the setup is pristine.
Yeah. And as we grow as traders though, it's like, just because the story needs to make sense for me, right? Like, this may be a great setup here, but like, I didn't like the overall. I'll tell you what it was. It was the 1 hour that was really telling me, hey, if we hold this level, I'm bullish, right? It's like, and that's what gets so powerful. Like, look at the 1 hour. This thing was extremely, it looked like this, dude. I'm not looking for shorts. You know what I'm saying? Look at that, dude. Like, what? One little pullback on the 1 hour and I'm going to short the market? Are you kidding? We're holding pre-market high. We're holding end of day. We're holding previous day high. Conditions are very bullish, right? So, yeah, this looked all right, but once again, I'm not going for that. And then we look at this green candle. This candle told me so much right here, closing back above the 9, Bayesian candle next to it, right? This right here spoke a lot to me. I mean, even though you get this little reverse, this thing had a lot of strength. And, and once again, I didn't get the retest I wanted to at this level, which is why I didn't take the trade. And that's completely and utterly fine. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out, right? It's like, yeah, this is a great setup, I guess, for shorts. Like, it makes sense. But beware of your surroundings. Beware of the larger time frames and what the overall conditions are. I mean, look at this Bayesian candle right here. Like, this was holding strong, and SPY was even better. SPY's 1 hour was even better. It was a perfect break and retest off 460. I mean, look at this. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, for 460.55, which was my level in pre-market. My pre-market bullish plan was literally this. Like, if we could get a retest at this level, I'm bullish for the whole day, which was, another reason why I took that long so quick. So, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how important it is to be in harmony with the market, and maybe we need to make a YouTube video about this.
Yeah.
It's not an easy concept to explain, but when you're watching the market's action completely unbiased, you can actually see it for what it is and not for what you want it to be. And that way, if you see a little patch of price action, when you come down and retest it later, you don't have negative emotions tied to that area of price action. You can say, okay, this is what price was telling me at this area. We were so bullish, we could not make a retest. Now when we're coming back and retesting that area and we see buyers again, that is where we're going to take the market long.
Yes.
So, letting the market really tell you what it's doing unbiased, without bias. And obviously, a lot of times that means you're not going to be in a trade.
Yeah.
Because if you're in a trade,
you're
probably going to be biased. So you have to be not in a trade, watching price action objectively to really understand, what price action is telling you. And it's a bit of a, I don't know how to explain it. It's a little bit abstract, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, 100%. And that's where that 1 hour comes in so handy for me, right? Like, and does this give me perfect signals every single time? No. But check this out. If this was a 5-minute time frame, I would identify this as extremely bullish. Just bullish, right? So it's like, okay, my first play was an end of day short play that got gobbled up very quick, right? So I'm going, okay, what is this? This is a break and retest to a T. And if this is happening on the 1 hour, what do I look like shorting the market? Literally, Darren, like we were talking about, because I see 2 red candles. Come on. Is that all it takes for you to completely abandon ship and abandon your strategy and abandon your discipline? Like, it's like we're so eager to find a quick reversal. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, dude, wait, what's this telling you? Look at this green engulfing candle. And at this point, I'm bullish. I'm bullish until we literally crush end of day to the downside. Like, and I make it that simple for me. And it's like, the market's telling you, hey, I'm bullish. Why are you trying to find a quick scalp? Like, why are you trying to pressure it? You know what I mean? And And look, it ended up ripping.
Yep. My only problem was I didn't hold on long enough.
Yeah.
But
that's okay.
What I did do was reward myself for being patient, identifying my process, and executing when I saw the market. And in my books, that's a huge win.
That's a win, bro. That's a massive win. You know, the size of your return can always be adjusted.
But always be bigger.
But
every single time you can look back and say, "Oh, I could have got a better entry."
Always. I mean, I guarantee you, Umar and Stock Market Wolf are saying that, and they make millions.
100%,
they make millions of dollars. So it's like, listen, my process is everything, right? And my ability to follow it. This right here, this day, 12/13/2023, I absolutely crushed my ability to be patient and follow process. I was just going back and looking at like my Discord commentary. I literally did not pull the trigger until this candle on a short play. It was on SPY. Dude, this once again, 2 days this week. I had phenomenal, very, very good. This day was a very good day for me. But more importantly, it was my ability to be patient that really paid off. So this was FOMC day. Now, we always talk about large news days, right? You know, certain criteria increases. But it's crazy how, like, my goal going into this day was just to trade my strategy and process, just like always. So I seen this break and retest off, what was it? So first thing I want to point out, now, some traders took this trade on the Discord, and I was so proud of them because this right here, this is one of my favorite setups right here. So check this out. Open print established here at 46450. Now, let me tighten that up real quick. Okay, so first things first. We rip above open print. We do not get a clear retest, so I don't take the market long, right? Thank God. If you take these long without a retest, you're going to get hurt. And I'm talking the retest off open print, not off the top of the 2 minute, right? Once again, that is low criteria. That is going to get you hurt. Just because it's retesting the top of the 2 minute candle before it doesn't mean anything, right? Be patient. Price comes down. We don't get the bullish retest. And once again, Darren, going back, I'm not just taking trades because a 2 minute candle. I mean, look, this is a pretty all right setup for a short play. Don't take it, right? I'm waiting on the battle. This candle right here, right? If you go to the 5 minute, if I could find, hold on. Let me pull up SPY 5 minute. Invalidating bearish market conditions. This is what I call the best thing in the world to be able to see. Look at this on the 5 minute, dude. Closing above the 9-day EMA, large wick, large volume, right? Because think about it. It takes money to defend open print. So, I mean, going back to the auction, we talk about trading these critical levels. It's extremely important to be clear on why. And it's because whoever can pay for these levels and own these levels, usually, not always, usually will control the trend for the next 15, 20, 30 minutes. So it's like, if we're in the business of capturing market imbalances up to pre-market high here, what do I need to see? And that's it right there. We invalidate.
Money moves.
Dude, look at that. Invalidate bearish market conditions, right? We had multiple traders on the Discord take this, and I was so pumped, dude, because it shows that they're getting very good at understanding what to look for, right? And it's like,
yep.
I mean, if you're longing this, you're an animal, right? Like you are.
Yeah, I mean, I think the crucial thing about this is basically if you can see the fact that, okay, we tried to run up above open print and sellers brought us down below it, and we're holding below it,
yes,
which in and of itself is bearish.
Yeah.
And then if you looked at that 5 minute, it was an extremely large red 5 minute candle before it closed.
Yeah.
And in the last minute of it closing, it suddenly switched and we invalidated that level.
Yeah.
This is what we talk about. It looks very bearish, and if that candle had closed bearish, yes, that would have been bearish conditions.
Yeah.
But just like that, it switched and we closed above it. Boom.
Yeah.
Buyers owned that level, and now we're going up to the next critical level.
Yeah. That right there is like, listen, That's the highest probability it gets. And I didn't take the setup. I missed it. I just
No, I didn't either. I didn't either.
And once again, that's completely fine, because now what happens next is beautiful. So we rip above this 46516 level, and then we break below it. And now this right here is when I seen this. This was the only trade I took this day. Super proud of my ability to be patient, not chase the long, right? Because I didn't like risk reward. Not chase this up here. We couldn't hold pre-market high. And then on the 5 minute, it spoke volumes. Once this green candle right here closed extremely bearish, closed below structure over here at 46511 and below the 9 EMA, I was open for a short play. Open for a short play, not hopping in, open. And then we rip right into the level and we reject. This is where I take the market short. Once this candle closes, right, with a 16-cent stop. Like, if this trade goes against me, I lose 5%, not even. And that's what you want right there. And then it was just a waiting game. And this thing just sold off.
That's an A+ setup right there.
Dude.
I love how you waited for structure there. I think.
Yeah.
So I messed up a short play on QQQ and got stopped out. I was looking to capture that move. But if I had waited to see that bearish structure there, it would have solved my problem completely. I got in too early and got stopped out. And then, of course, I might be kicking myself. But what did I not do? I didn't identify structure.
You're right. That structure, that's been my new thing, Darren. Structure with the 9 really has really simplified. Like because like our job as traders is to identify market conditions, obviously. And it's like there's a lot of variables that go into that, right? It could be, critical levels, it could be volume, it could be, So one thing I've done and realized I do well with is like, okay, structure at the critical level, right? So obviously it's critical level first, then it's who's defending it via structure, and then it's how's that reacting to the 9-day EMA, right? So, I mean, it's like in this case, pre-market high, sellers defending it. Okay. Now, once again, we're not just shorting right here. We wait for that structure to be developed, and it's lining up with the 9. I'm like, dude, taking it short. Let's target open print, right? We target open print, and then we rip all the way down. End of day was right. Where was it? Because this was a perfect end of day play. Perfect. It was insane how perfect this end of day play was. End of day was right here.
Right before the news.
Yeah.
Ripped.
Yeah. This was perfect end of day play. So we hit end of day right before the news. I'm out of the trade. And then just look at how this structure soared. Now, I'm not in the business of playing into FOMC or Powell. I'm not. That is not the way to trade. Because there's no structure to it. But one thing I did do this day, which ended up paying out very well, I actually took I went a little wild. I traded SPY and I put on a Q's trade. Yeah. Dude, I invested.
I mean, it was pretty bullish news.
I invested pretty deep on this, but I'm going to tell you why right here. We had massive upside target of 471. I remember it. Now the market looked like this. This right here was, to me, buyers defending this. Now, this was a little sketchy. Now, I mean, this was not at a critical level. This was nothing other than, once again, the 9-day EMA in structure, right? Because once this candle opens up, this large green basin, it sells off and it's red. Hits this point and sucks up. And on the 2 minute, we closed before this red bar ignored here, right? I'm like, okay, long. Upside targets, right? And then it was just dude, this thing just kept rallying and wouldn't stop. It was wild. It was very wild. And you could see structure just kept holding. I didn't blink the whole time.
Yeah, that's you got to be watching that. You got to be managing that like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
The thing is, and the reason why I think you probably took that trade is if you actually go back at price action, there was a massive gap all the way from 4.6450 all the way up to like 4.720.
Yeah.
And way back in 2021, we sold off in one day this entire gap. Like the beginning of the day and the end of day, all the way back in 2021, it made that entire move. So we didn't have any levels at all. No zones, no daily time frame, nothing. It was just one big move. It was a gap that was waiting to be filled. And the fact that it filled it on CPI day
was even
kind
better.
of fucking crazy now that I think about it. But I mean, mainly it was just validation that we had a large gap to fill. And I think that was validation for longs too. But I didn't take those.
No, and that's like where those larger time frames are going to be your best friend. And going into this week, if we had strength above 460, I was extremely bullish. I mean, bro, holding above this 461, 462 level. I mean, look, the upside targets were. I mean, where did I take it? Oh, it was right here. Yeah, it was like 471 or 470.30, right? From right here. So, yeah, it was just a massive, it was a massive play. And I was like, you know what? I'm on the, low size. I'm like, let's see what happens here. And then, but yeah, phenomenal day. I was very proud of my trading that day. And like, I just want all the listeners to know, what me and Darren are doing here is literally diving through what we want to see more of, right? It's like you have to ask yourself, I'm trading. What do I want? What type of trader do I want to be tomorrow? Do I want to be the type of trader that's desperate, that throws on trades with no stop loss, over leveraged, just to try to make good money to feel good about myself? Or do I want to develop a process that's repeatable and can go into 2024 with conviction with? Like, just that's like the main goal of these webinars, is not to talk about like, oh, look at me. It's like, no, this is behavior I want to see repeated every single day to literally create that vision of the person I'm trying to become that can accomplish that $250,000 a year feat of day trading. I mean, so yeah, next day was my daughter's.
Yeah, it's about developing a process.
Yes.
And if that is forefront in your mind, you're going to make the right decisions.
Exactly. Next day was my daughter's birthday. Wasn't really in front of the computer this day.
But the open print retest, I mean, holy shit.
Yeah.
Or I think on SPY was the or no, maybe Q's.
Let me pull it up. Oh yeah, it was Q's. I seen this. I logged this in T metrics.
Oh my god.
Dude, look at this OP retest. Disgusting. Disgusting trade. Dude, wow. One thing I want to point out though that I did see, I didn't play it, but if you look at previous day high here, right, which is 470.70, we gapped up well above it, right? So, I mean, obviously you always got to be aware of a gap fill in this scenario, which is what it did entirely. When you're selling off like this, right? First thing I'm noticing, anytime you get now look at this sell-off. Look how it's respecting the 9-day EMA. Cannot close above it. Not one green candle. Really nice low of day break and retest right here. But like, this is a trade I definitely would have took below the 9-day EMA, structure below low of day, quick target. Now look at this green candle. Definitely not. Once I'm seeing us close above the 9, shorts, I'm really not as bearish as like that 9 has really helped me realize when buyers are showing strength. And look how we rip into the critical level and right past it. Perfect place to go long. Perfect place to go long, considering you find a nice retest. It's just really, if I'm in the business of identifying break and retest off critical levels, I have to be in the business of identifying when it's not happening properly. Like, look at this one on Qs. This would have been a perfect long play. Perfect. Like,
I also like how that pullback on. Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Also that break and retest right there.
Yeah.
Was clutch in the next in Friday. I guess it was Friday's move. But we'll get into that. But this retest all the way down at 400 level.
Yeah.
It came directly from the previous day.
Yeah.
If you look on price action, that's a break and retest right there. Thursday, that initial inflection point that it made around 430.
Yes, right there.
Retested.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. To a T. Bro, that's
that
crazy.
Gave me confidence to go for the long the next day because that's bullish right there.
Dude.
We pulled back, we found buyers, solidifying bearish conditions. As long as we're above that level and any other break and retest that we make, I'm bullish.
Yeah, wow. And it's like, that's our job, is to be like, okay, how's price reacting to this? And like another thing, in a bearish scenario, we need to stay below 40138. We need to. Seeing this massive basin is like, okay, if a bearish scenario is staying below 40138, a bullish scenario means we break it. Boom. So it's like that, going back to that, I'm not biased. All I do is trade structure. That's critical. That's all it is. That's all it is sit back, let this thing play out based on the level, and put on risk. That's it. Like that's another thing I'm going forward into 2024 is like bullish, bearish scenario around one level, and just play with it. I love seeing that though. That it's the best thing.
Yep, I took another thing that helped me on Friday was to take pre-market data off, and then that break and retest really jumped out at me, and
dude,
I was like,
look at this, dude. Look, I can't believe I missed. Yeah. Dude, look at this off end of day. So this was one of those things, right? This was my pre-market plan for a bullish scenario, literally from end of day to previous day high. Where I went wrong here was not trading Qs. I picked SPY instead. And I think we were talking about it, Darren. I was behind the wheel. I should have never been trading anyways, because I was doing some shopping for my daughter's birthday. But I seen this. I was looking at this in my journal. Granted, this is a 2-minute time frame, but this was a perfect break and retest off open print. I'm not really mad at myself for this trade. This trade makes me a lot of money, especially coupled with previous day low. Invalidation, I thought this thing was going to rally. I mean, buyers defended previous day low, buyers defending open print. 9 times out of 10, I make money on these, and just so happens, didn't work. Stomped out quick, and then just sat back for the rest of the day. I didn't play with any longs. But if you look here at Qs, dude, she was trading very well. I mean, end of day, perfect. Rip. Not really a great retest, but this is what I call structure being formed. I really liked, I threw it out in the Discord. I didn't take it though. I was like, I really like seeing buyers here off pre-market high. I mean, going back to what the pre-market plan was, if we could hold the end of day, right? We got a perfect gap fill. Let's take that pre-market data off. Because you're right. It just really clarifies what we're doing here. I mean, look at that. And this
yep.
It was weird though, like end of day.
So I took that long off pre-market high, and the reason I did was because I had to stick with bullish conditions. Like I couldn't sit around and predict. I think sellers are going to come in here. Like I had to go with what I was seeing in front of my eyes, and I'm happy I did, even though I didn't get a massive return on that. I held it all the way until sellers actually came in at previous day high, and then I got out. And I was hoping that we would rip above pre-market previous day high, But, hoping doesn't get you anything in this game. And I got out as soon as, sellers came in there.
Yeah.
And, it wasn't a banger of a trade, but I'm just happy that I identified conditions, just like I say. I identified my pattern. I executed, and I rewarded myself.
Yep.
Simple as that.
100%. I mean,
you're not always going to print, on these setups.
No.
But if you can operate based on your strategy, W.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I took one short play right here. Took 2 trades to stay, both losers, but I literally didn't lose more than 13%, which is a fucking win. You know what? Like,
that's nothing.
I cannot. It's just like, I mean, dude, I struggled with years for holding on to these losing trades, bro. And it's like it's like going back to sizing down and just making the right decision when it doesn't matter. Doing that enough just really starts to pay off. We rip into previous day high. We get one red bar, and your boy's like, "Oh, I'm bearish," and get one red bar, and I'm ready to short. Disgusting. Disgusting. Come on. I mean, bro, look at this structure. Look at this structure.
I mean, when I got out of that position, by the way, when I got out of that long position, I immediately reversed my position.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, because it was right here, right? Or where did you?
Yeah, and then I got stopped out on this pullback, and the reason was because I was not managing the trade. I put my stop in, and I walked away.
Yeah.
And if I had been managing a trade, I would have seen that was a pullback, inverse head and shoulders, or head and shoulders.
Look at that.
And I maybe would have let my trade go past 30%. As it was, it stopped me out for 30%, which I like to say is my max. But, are we sometimes going to have to risk more than 30% of our position? Yeah, we sometimes will.
Yeah.
But I think the important thing is you need to be sitting there managing it. You can't just...
As long as you understand.
Yeah, you got to... I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be doing that too much more where I just set my stop and walk away.
I agree.
I need to be part of the trade. I need to be fully part of the trade. And if I can't put on a trade and I can't manage it, then I won't put on the trade.
Then I'm not trading. Yeah, because I mean, I mean, it was crazy because I was calling out in the Discord, right? I had my eye on this 406 level. I was like, dude, and I'm like, but where I failed, right, is I traded this perfectly, other than the fact structure was still bullish. Nothing was telling me that sellers had this level, other than the 9-day EMA. And this is what I just journaled heavy, because I've been using the 9 a lot, and it's been doing very well. Like, I've been trading very well with it. But after going through my journal, I realized I'm trading well with the 9 because I'm always trading off a critical level and off structure, right? So it's like the 9 is literally the last thing I need to be looking at, right? Before, like, the first thing is, okay, what level are we approaching and why? Right? And in this case, it's previous day high. Now, what's structure telling me? I mean, pre-market high, defended with volume. Previous resistance, defended with volume. There are a buyer here at 405.55. Now, okay, rip into previous day high, get one red candle and close below the 9, and I'm ready to short? No, unacceptable. Right? Now, does that make me a horrible trader? No. It makes me aware. I need to be aware of where I'm slipping up. I don't want to be the best, perfect, I always make perfect decisions, because that person is ignorant as all hell. I want to be able to be like, okay, where did I go wrong here? And I've identified it clearly, clear as day. Now, going into next week, it's like, okay, what's my criteria for getting in a trade? Critical level, structure, bam. Then if that coupled that with a 9, no doubt, right? Like, but I guess what I'm trying to say is if you find something that's working for you, don't switch everything up just because it works twice. You know what I'm saying? Really, until you can approach every trade in a super similar, consistent fashion, you're never going to see consistency, right? And that's what I did. That's where I went wrong. I did not stick to my regular structured plan. I did in a sense, but it was this level. I was like, oh, sellers just defended this 406.09 level. And that level proved to be super beneficial, just not at that point. So that's all right. I didn't beat myself up. I took 2 losses and walked away. I took 2 L's and walked away. Done for the day. This is one of my rules. If I make a trade that I do some fancy, unpredictable, irrational decision making like that, I'm done for the day. I must pay somehow. I must go without. There must be some sort of sacrifice for that dumbass decision. Otherwise, I won't learn from it. So,
yep, exactly.
I can't recommend that. I mean, there's nothing I can recommend more than if you make a bad decision in the market to walk away and be done for the day. Make yourself pay for that, right? Because if you're just touching stoves out here and not feeling pain, soon you won't have a hand. You know what I'm saying? So,
big facts.
Yeah.
You got to somehow discipline yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's nothing going to stop you from just doing it over and over and over again.
And like, that doesn't, like, I was still watching price. I mean, dude, I seen this. And like we talked about this before, remaining so objective is extremely beneficial. Like just being able to be like, dude, like, I'm sitting back and watching price action right now. Like, it's extremely beneficial. Like, with the expectation, like, knowing you're not going to trade, dude, it just really heightens the awareness.
And these are the things that you can include in your journal. Like,
Yes.
these are the things that you should be including in your journal.
Yes.
Not,
Your
I should have
P&L.
read this candle this way. You
Yeah.
can totally just journal your mindset. And if you didn't operate out of the correct mindset that you wanted to, include that in your journal, tie it to the trade that you messed up. And now you have something to actually go back and look at where before you start trading on Monday morning, you go back and you look at that trade and you say, okay, I was not resembling the behavior of the trader that I want to be. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I know exactly what to avoid going into this next week.
Yes.
So these are all the things you can include in your journal, just your entry and exit. You're not really going to fully learn exactly what new behaviors you want to. Oh, you're just going to be looking at, damn, I should have taken that trade, or you're thinking all the things you should have done. Look at the behaviors which you don't want to repeat, write them down, and meditate on them.
Yeah.
Like, your journal should be much more than just your entry and exit.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be more than that.
No, 100%. And if it's not, you're not seeing results, that's why. It's like
you're not extracting the full potential out of all the trades you're putting on.
You're just honestly highlighting where you're going wrong. Like, it's crazy. When you only put your entry and exit, all what you're highlighting, when I look at my trade and go, oh shit, I got in right here, I'm going, dude, I could have gotten in here. I could have gotten in here. I should have gotten here. And that's building a negative relationship with the market. That's building it's diminishing your self-worth by like crazy. So when you go into journaling and you're like, okay, this is where I went wrong. I have a clear game plan tomorrow on what to do better. And I understand that. I'm aware of that. Dude, what's going to knock me down? Nothing, right? It's like I'm completely aware. It makes sense to me. It needs to make sense where you went wrong. If you can make sense of it and make sense of the solution, you're 10 more times likely to actually follow the solution. So,
ask yourself, what did the market do that caused you to stray from your rules?
Yeah.
And if screenshot the price action and say, this price action fooled me. I got in at the wrong point. What were my thoughts that caused me to do this? And now you have a concrete thing. Okay, I'm not going to have that thought when I see this price action. I'm going to think structure. I'm going to zoom out. What are you going to do to avoid that mindset that you were in that caused you to put on that losing trade? So powerful.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, well, listen, that pretty much wraps it up for me. I'm out. I have to go to my daughter's birthday party. I'm going to go do some stuff. Darren, you want to stay on for a minute and see if anyone wants to go through any trades?
Yeah, I'll stay
All
on.
right.
I think Novak's here. If you want to
Oh,
go
nice.
over any trades made this week, or